Hey, this is Rick Brandenburg for Turf Bugs and Rock and Roll, and this is a special edition of the Three Stooges. And this time, instead of Jim Kearns, we have a special welcome guest of Shemp, in this case, Lee Butler, one of Jim Kearns' colleagues. And we want to talk about a topic that we get asked questions a lot, and we're going to cover it individually from the entomology, the weed science, and the plant pathology. And that's the question of pesticide resistance. We get a lot of questions. It's not a real common thing, especially in my area with the insects, with the exception of three pests. That would be southern chinch bugs in St. Augustine, especially in Florida. That would be annual bluegrass weevils in the northeast and mid-Atlantic states. And the other would be Bermuda grass mites in warm season in the hotter areas of the south and other parts of the world. And the reason all three of these stand out in the area of pesticide resistance is they have multiple generations that get treated multiple times in a single year. So as a result, there's more opportunities for selection for those that have a tolerance or a resistance to the pesticide. And resistance to pesticide in the case of insects can take many forms. It can be something as simple as the behavior of where the insect is on the plant, that perhaps it's more protected in that location so it gets less exposure to pesticide. The other one could be that they actually develop and increases in frequency in the population the ability to detoxify or metabolize a particular pesticide. So regardless of the mechanism, the more times that species is exposed to a pesticide and the more generations it has per year, the greater the likelihood of pesticide resistance happening. And that's why with southern chinch bugs, especially in the state of Florida, where they're getting treated over and over 6 to 8 times a year, we have to go with product rotation. That's why with annual bluegrass weevil in northeast, where we're treating multiple times in the spring and early summer, we have to go with differences in chemistry to avoid resistance there. And that's why with Bermuda grass mites, we really have to go with changes in chemistry there, because mites are just horrendous for developing pesticide resistance. So keep in mind too that when you talk about rotating products, in the case of neonicotinoids, Meridian, Arena, and Merit are all in the same class. So by rotating through those, you're really not gaining anything as far as reducing resistance. And I think it's just a good idea in general to occasionally rotate products. I know in the case of white grubs, in the case of mole crickets, where we have one generation a year, we typically have not run into problems with resistance. But I think it's just a good general practice to rotate products. But in the case of chinch bugs, annual bluegrass weevil, and Bermuda grass mites, you've got to have a plan and a program, or you're going to end up with resistance and you're going to end up behind the proverbial 8 ball. Hope that helps. Look, talking to you soon. Next is going to be Lee Butler and then Fred Yelverton talking a little bit about the pesticide issues in the disease side of things and in the weed side. Look forward to talking with you again soon.